Welcome back to the Blue Futon! Yes, computer back, and now I can review whatever I want to review. But this is going to be kind of a special review because this is a lot of controversy that's even coming up because there's a season 2 of it. I'm reviewing 13 Reasons Why. Now, I have really no interest in watching this TV show because I've heard about the suicide message, and is it forceful? Is it encouraging teenagers and other young adults to take their lives with the show? So I was like, you know what? Season 2's coming out. Let me watch season 1 of this show. Now, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to review kind of each 13 episodes and the reason why she committed suicide with these people. So this is going to be a very heavy spoiler review. So sit back and relax. You might not like what I say, but hey, let's get on with 13 Reasons Why Season 1 review. So how am I going to do this? I'm just going to go by episode. Each episode is basically focused on one person, on the reasons why she committed suicide. Well, the whole premise of the story is there's tapes, and each person gets their tape, and each tape is the person, and there's a person named Tony, who's basically, his job is to make sure all the tapes go to the right person. And so it goes to this Dylan character, that's his real life name, but Clay, and I'll tell you what tape he is when I get to the episode, but it's his turn to watch the tapes. And he's confused. Why am I on this tape? What did I do to Hannah to make her think that I helped her commit suicide? So, let's start this off. Episode 1, it's Justin's fault. Why is it Justin's fault for episode 1? He took a picture of her sliding down the slide. It's her first date in a park. And when he took the picture of her, it showed her underwear, her panties. And so when he was showing his basketball buddies, like, hey, look at Hannah on the slide. And there's a character named Bryce who takes the phone and basically does a group message. Of course, send this picture of Hannah on a slide with the underwear showing. Boom, 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 boom. I don't think this starts it, so she's not really upset at this picture because, I mean, it's a picture he snapped it. I don't think he was purposely mean to snap it at that right time where her skirt is lifting up. The one reason that starts it is when she looks at Justin. Justin's like, whatever, man. It's just a picture. So that's where I think it started off, with the picture taken and him not caring. So I'm going to do like a Blue Futon factor of each episode out of 5 if this is actually a reasonable... I do not believe in suicide whatsoever. I think it actually hurts everyone else. Suicide is very selfish, in my opinion. Episode 1, Blue Futon Reasons to Kill Yourself. It's going to be really weird. I'm going to go with a 2 out of 5 because this is a start of something. It can be pretty bad. It matters on the situations that happen afterwards to make it worse, but I'll go with a 2 out of 5 with the blameability. I know this is going to be really awful how this sounds, but now let's go to episode 2. Episode 2, the blame goes to Jessica. So Jessica is basically Hannah's best friend when she entered high school the first time. And so they were 2 in a pack. They would get coffee together at this coffee shop, Monique or something like that. And then a third person comes in, Alex. He has bleached blonde hair. Threesome, what does that equal? A love triangle, because both the girls kind of like Alex. And what do you know? It's Alex and Jessica, not Alex and Hannah. So that disintegrates the friendship because Jessica and Hannah, it's more like Jessica and Hannah don't like each other because they thought each of them takes each other apart. So basically it's about friendship. Her friendship started to disintegrate after the picture came out. Of course, there's more to the backstory of episode 2, which we'll get to it, but this is also the first lie on the videotape because according to Hannah, Jessica stopped showing up to the coffee shop. Well, when you talk to Jessica, Jessica's like, no, actually the videotape's a lie. Hannah stopped coming to the coffee shop. So that's where you started getting interested of where this is going. But to blame Jessica for going out with another guy is also very weak. And I think it's actually weaker than episode 1 for blameability. I know. The blameability of Blue Futons out of this one is pretty low, and I'm going with a 1.5 out of 5 Blue Futon blameability. This is not reviewing blameability. I'm calling it the blameability because I feel like she's putting a lot of blame on everyone else, and so this is what I'm going to say. So episode 3 is Alex. So this whole point is the whole list that Alex made that Jessica has a flat ass and Hannah has a great ass is more of actually to piss off Jessica because Alex and Jessica were going out, and then Alex and Jessica broke up. So it was more to get back at Jessica, not Hannah. So that was the main story of this one, is basically a list. There's a huge list of who has the best lips, who has the best boobs, who has the best ass. And of course, this goes to the dilemma of what guys do this to girls and girls do this to guys. Do girls make a list of guys of like biggest penis or biggest biceps because I'll lose the biggest bicep one. So this is another weird one to talk about because I might get into blameability factors here. Is I look at a lot of Instagram stuff and a lot of females nowadays are looking for the CrossFit. They see the Kim Kardashian effect of the fake asses, the Nicki Minaj fake asses, and a lot of the girls aren't doing that anymore. They want to have a plump butt. Not all of them, but I'm saying when I look through Instagram posts and workout videos of CrossFit, there's a lot more females doing CrossFit to have that nice bod. Of course, that's totally different than having a list. So this list is, to me, kind of significant for the blame of labeling people on body parts. So, blameability for Alex, that's a solid 3.5 out of 5. His is actually a pretty decent reason. I hate saying reasons because I truly think suicide is selfish. But anyway, let's go to episode 4. Episode 4 is Tyler. Tyler is the school photographer for Yearbook. Blatantly says he's a stalker to everyone in the school. He knows a lot of people's secrets that they don't want people coming out. He kind of loves Hannah, so that's why he's stalking her more. He catches her doing something with another girl. And of course the picture comes out, let's put it bluntly, the picture comes out of what is happening, and that kind of links to episode 5. So it's hard to tell what episode 5 is without telling you what it is. But episode 4, Tyler took a picture of Hannah and another girl making out. And then Hannah went to him and saying, please give me the copies. Do not let this go out to public. But it went out to public. Even Hannah says you can't really tell who's in the picture. And the kind of debate of no one really knows who was in the picture. And there's no really true identity of who was actually in the picture. And so that was also said, releasing a picture of 2 girls kissing. It actually was more to hurt the other girl, or the other girl involved was actually more scared of this picture coming out. But of course, all this domino, it's basically a domino effect. And Tyler should have released the picture. No. Spiteful, yes. But you know, some people take stuff differently. So you know what? This is another solid, I'd say a decent one. 3.5 out of 5 for blameability and reason. I hate using that. 5. Do not remember her name, but she's the Asian girl who makes out with Hannah in the picture. It's not just the making out the girl does. Her backstory, her parents are 2 guys, gay parents, and she's gay. She doesn't want to be stereotypical. Her parents are gay, and now she's gay. She doesn't want that light to come out in public. What's not really the picture that what she does and makes it worse is what happens at the school dance and what she says to a bunch of dudes about 3 ways and sexual acts. So this one is actually the rumor-based one where it's actually, to me, one of the worst things people can do. And of course, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this episode, they say guys could be assholes, but girls could be like bitches and like stab you in the back and killers, actual killers. So this girl, to me, this was one of the biggest reasons, and the blame can be pretty high on her. And I think this is the character everyone hates the most, and the rapist. But anyway, blameability of just complete assholery. This one's a solid. I'm gonna go 5 out of 5 on her. The blameability, yeah, she has to blame. She's to blame for a lot of the stuff. Now it starts getting a little deeper of me starting to think this show was starting to pull things out of the bag and not really fleshing out things. So episode 6 was Marcus. This one, even though Marcus is an asshole, blaming Marcus for what you did to get back another person, this is where I start getting angry at the show. Hannah likes Clay. So they work at the movie theater together. And basically Clay is a shy dude. I won't lie, high school I was shy. There was like 3 different girls that I thought were absolutely gorgeous and I wanted to go out with. But I was so shy on asking them out for a date that I didn't. And of course, did I make a mistake and lose true love? Who knows? But I understand Clay in this aspect of scared to ask Hannah out. So Hannah basically throws a rope and Clay's like, I don't know. So it's this Valentine episode and she basically goes out with this Marcus character to get back at Clay for not going out with Hannah in the first place. So she did this to get back at Clay. And she's blaming Marcus, even though it's her decision to go out with Marcus. To me, that's where the biggest thing. Yes, is Marcus thought she was easy, and that's why he wanted to go out with her in the first place? Yes, but she could have easily just ignored it and said, hey, Marcus, nah, I don't want to go out with you. End episode, but they had to do it, and they make Marcus, feel up her skirt at the restaurant, make Marcus the bad guy, which, of course, he thought she was easy. And of course, I think they did this on purpose to make Marcus more of an asshole thing so you kind of feel sorry for Hannah. But when you look at the underlying image of this one, it's Hannah's fault to go out with Marcus. So the blameability of actual Marcus in this one is low, but I'll say since he thought she was easy and the whole point of is try to get to sleep with her is a solid 1.5 out of 5 for blamability to Marcus. This is where episode 7, I literally almost lost it. Episode 7 is Zack. So episode 6 basically ends basketball players leaving. And it starts with episode 7 of Zack sitting with Hannah for who knows how long, because he's also a lonely character. But for her to blame Zack for this was the most bullshit reasons. This is, I'll tell you right now, the blamability for Zack is 0 out of 5 for this one. This one is complete ashholes. Ashhole-ish. God, I can't really pronounce it. But here we go. This is where Zack goes to a lunch and basically tries to talk to Hannah and be like, hey, I'm sorry for what happened last night. I didn't know he was actually doing that. I'm sorry for what happened. And she's just like, get the fuck out of here. You're an asshole, blah, 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 blah. In front of all his football boys. Zack could have done a lot worse and actually, like, say stuff to her. But no, he actually just got up, left, angry, didn't say anything to her. Well, to get back at her, he takes these notes out of a class project. So basically, these notes that basically tell her, here's a bunny. And she's like, in the episode, I really needed those notes. You don't understand, those notes would keep me alive. Well, you don't know what Zack's going through as well. He could be wearing a mask kind of like you were. And if you kind of watch it, Zack was wearing a mask. He's also a very lonely person. He's also sad that he doesn't get those notes as well. And he was also just getting back at her for her being a complete asshole to him. And so that whole thing of she's like, oh, I really need those notes. You don't know how those notes were needed for me. Well, what if Zack needed you to talk to him at the lunch, but you were very selfish to yourself and not think about everyone else? So that's the other part where the show kind of gets mad at me, or I get mad at the show, is the blamability and just, oh, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. Well, why don't you look in the mirror? Because you might be some of the issues because you are being a bitch. Sorry to some of these characters like Zack, where you, and to some decisions you make are just like, what, WTF factors. And I hate to use the word bitch, but you were very mean to this kid who is actually just trying to kind of open his heart out too, because he's actually very lonely. And you don't know his background either. And I think that's the other thing, is she assumes she knows everyone just by these one little actions, and his action wasn't even that bad. But here I go. This is why I said episode 7 completely made me upset. So she places a trap in one of these bags. So when he tries to take her notes, she basically says, oh, her problems, blah, 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 blah. He reads it, and according to Hannah, he just basically drops the note and runs away. Well, at the very end of the episode, Zack pulls out the note from his wallet saying, I never threw this note away. So this is where you actually question Hannah's truthfulness throughout this episode. And is Zack really telling the truth? Because technically Zack, to me, never did anything wrong except take the notes out. But that's not really a reason to blame someone for your suicidal tendencies. So like I said, episode 7 gets a 0 out of 5 blamability for Zack. Zack should not be in this list whatsoever, and this is actually Hannah's fault, in my opinion. One of the worst episodes of blame ever. Let's go to episode 8. So episode 8 is basically the Yearbook Council President. He loves poetry, and he basically tells Hannah to come to his library for poetry, read poetry off. She basically read poetry off, and he's like, this is amazing. You need to publish this. And she's like, no, this is personal. And he says, nah, you need to publish it. I'm going to publish it anonymously behind her back. So no one really knows who published it, and she blames him, basically saying, you put this out in the world. You should have never done that. But when you think about it, him putting it out to the world, even though he was being selfish in his act, if someone read the poem itself and said, oh my God, this girl's in trouble, we need to figure out who actually wrote this poem and reach out to the person writing this poem, seeing if there really are issues in her life. So her blaming him for publishing the poem is kind of catch-22, because yes, it's her private poem, while he didn't give the girl's identity, which is Hannah, of course. And then, yeah, he was being selfish, but it was also kind of maybe helping her to prove that she needs to get out in the world, and maybe some of these issues she's having, she needs to express to the world so she could be okay. So this one was the kind of, I thought was another very weak blamability factor. So this one I'm going to give a 1 out of 5. For blaming him for publishing the poem. Even though he went behind her back, he might have been helping her, but no one really realized he was helping her. Alright, episode 9 goes back to Justin. In this episode, Hannah witnesses a rape of Jessica and Bryce. So Hannah's in the closet, blames Justin for letting Bryce rape Jessica, which Jessica and Justin are going out. Now this is another weird dynamic where I feel like the blamability is so low for Justin on this one, due to the fact she does not know what Justin did before. Even though, could he have done more? Yes, he actually tried to stop Bryce, but of course, Bryce is a lot bigger than he is, but of course, Justin could have went to other people downstairs. So I understand the reason for blaming Justin, but you know what? By Justin's here, Hannah's blame is higher than Justin's on this one. Hannah watched this happen in the closet. Literally watched Bryce rape Jessica. She does nothing. She's like, I froze. I didn't know what to do. No, you scream. And you're in a situation. You can't blame Justin for Bryce raping someone when you are the one actually witnessing it, not know what Justin actually tried to do to stop. But even though he could have done more, you were in that situation to do more. So this blaming Justin for Bryce raping Jessica, basically this is a reason for that. You should commit suicide because you saw a rape happen. It doesn't fly with me at all with this one. So blaming Justin on this one, even though he could have done more, I'll give him a 1 out of 5. As you can see, these scales, it's basically very low or very high. Just on this one, to me, is actually pretty low of blamability when Hannah could have done a lot more in this situation. Is Cheryl the cheerleader? Basically, this whole point is Cheryl hasn't been drinking. Hannah and like, hey, I'll take you home. Well, Cheryl's driving, messes around with the phone, hits a stop sign. Of course, then Hannah's like, we need to call, and Cheryl's like, no, I can't. Oh, well, I don't know the real reason. Like, oh, I hit the stop sign. It's not a big deal. But Hannah's like, no, you need to call home. Let you know the stop sign's down. Well, of course, someone leaves the party, not drunk, he gets T-boned, and the person driving the party is basically one of Clay's baseball friends who helped him. This is actually the one where they're like, who is this guy? I know this name from somewhere. When it happened, I was like, ooh, I really feel bad for this because this kid should not have died. Had the situation with the stop sign going through, and he's getting blamed that he basically was drinking and driving, and it was his fault that he died. Well, it's actually because Cheryl hit the stop sign and no one saw the stop sign, and he ran the stop sign not knowing there was a stop sign. But of course, Hannah blames Cheryl for this is one of the reasons to commit suicide because of a stop sign going down. And then of course, Hannah could have done more to call, even though she did call the cops, she called the cops too late before the accident happened. These are also situations Hannah could have stepped in and done more, but she didn't. But all this blame is going to other people because she didn't do more. That's the biggest issue I have, but like I said, that'll be afterwards. So blaming Cheryl for the stop sign, and Clay's like, you need to tell people. Cheryl was going to tell the old people, but instead she just couldn't do it. And then they went to the baseball player's parents' house. She didn't show up. Only Clay did, and Clay basically said, I don't think your son was drinking and driving. So the blamability for this one, was it a bad decision to make to hit the stop sign and not do anything? Yes, you basically caused someone else's death. So this could be pretty high. I'd say this is maybe 2.5 out of 5 futons, I would say, with this one. But of course, it's on that scale of Hannah could have done more, Cheryl could do more. They're both in the wrong on this one. Pretty evenly, they were both in the wrong on this one. Of course, like I said, this could also have been where Hannah told Cheryl, I saw a rape. And if she said that, that could have been completely different. Number 11 is Clay. Of course, this is the one where everyone's waiting for, what did Clay do so wrong? Because before the episode, they're like, yes, you're actually the reason why Hannah is dead. He's like, what did I do? What he did is he listened to Hannah to not have sex with her. He basically did the good guy reason of saying, you know what? We both have a connection. We're going to do it. But then she has images of the other guys. She's kissing stuff. And she said, no, get out of here. I hate you. Just leave me the fuck alone. And know what he does as a good guy? He says, okay, I'll leave you alone. And once he left her alone, she tried to leave. And that's when Jessica gets raped by Bryce. Blaming him, even though at the very end it goes, Clay, you should not be on this tape. You're not one of the reasons, but I need you to hear this story. But I think going up to saying, if you would have stayed and had sex with her, that she would have stayed alive because she loves you so much. So the blamability, there isn't going to be a blamability factor on this one because there is no one to blame on this one because technically he's not one of the reasons why she committed suicide. She just wanted him to hear the tapes. So no blamability, but like I have a movie script writing, it's good guys finish last. And this basically proves it. Clay's a good guy. All the other guys in the shows aren't really good guys. But he finishes last. He does the right thing. And of course, he gets some of the blame. And he has to carry all the burden with him. Episode 12 is Bryce. The main reason why. Now this one, yes, Bryce raped Jessica. And then later in this episode, you realize that Bryce rapes Hannah as well. But now you're thinking, yeah, I'm thinking too. You know Bryce raped Jessica, right? Why are you going to go to a rapist's house and go to one of his parties? You know he raped someone already, but you're still going to go to his house, a party, a known rapist that you saw rape one of your old best friends. You're going to go, and that's like nothing happened. And then you're going to let him go in the pool with you or the hot tub with you, which of course he's a bigger dude than her. But the whole reason, yes, Bryce is a douche. He's a 5 out of 5 for blamability of raping people. But there's also a silver lining to me. You went there. You know he was a rapist. Why would you go to his house? So even though the blamability for Bryce is a solid 5 out of 5, you went to the house where you know he raped someone and you didn't do nothing about it. So of course, that's what I think of episode 12. The last episode, 13, this is where the actual suicide happens and Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter is the counselor of the school. Now here's another iffy one. Because I actually did a little bit of research on what counselors can do. Because like with Sark and everything else, what can the counselor do? So in this episode, Hannah refuses to say the boy's name of that, yes, she was sexually assaulted. I don't think she actually said rape, but I could be wrong, but she was sexually assaulted by a senior boy in the school. He says, give me the name and we could prosecute and have a case. She says, I don't want to tell you the name. Counselor's blunt answer is, you could get over it then if you don't want to press charges, because I'm giving you the avenue kind of to tell me the person's name and what we could do to make this stop. And of course, she's kind of like, okay, fine, because this is her last hope of not commit suicide. And she basically, at that point when he said kind of get over it, she says, okay, that's why I'm going to commit suicide, basically, because she said get over it. But then she gives him one more chance to try to leave the office. And so I find this weird, is because during the whole time, his phone was going off multiple times. So maybe he was having a family crisis at home with his wife and his daughter. So for all you know, he was on the phone with his wife saying, oh, our daughter's sick, we need to go to the ER real quick. So you don't know what's happening in that room, but she's like, I'm giving him one more chance to try to stop me from committing suicide. And he never comes out of the office because he's still on the phone with his wife, probably doing his own personal issues. So she blames Mr. Porter for not doing more, which I've done research, like I said, and I don't think counselors can do that much if no reports want to be filed. Like, no, something bad happened to me, but I don't want to tell you the details or who did it or when and where. And that's where the counselor's like, well, if you can't give me information, how am I supposed to help you? Help me help you kind of situation. The blame Mr. Porter is actually pretty low as well. I'll give that a solid 1 out of 5, just because the blameability is kind of low due to the fact that he's like, just get over it. You didn't push more. But what do you expect from these people to actually help you? So of course, the end of this episode is pretty graphic. The suicide happens and the parents walk in just like, oh God, God, God. And of course, the season ends with Tony, who has the original tapes, gives a flash drive to the parents to listen to all the tapes, and with the secret tape 14 with Bryce saying, yeah, if you want to call me raping her, call it rape. I don't care. If you think that's what I did was rape. Thinking about court case, that speculation of, oh, is it really, did he really confess to rape? So that's what I think of all 13 episodes of it. So you have Justin, Jessica, Alex, Tyler, the Asian girl, I don't know her name, Marcus, Zach, the president of the photo book club, Justin again, Cheryl, Clay, Bryce, and Mr. Porter. So like I said, the blamability is pretty off the wall on this one. And that's why I get frustrated. She's blaming other people for decisions she made. And I think that's the biggest flaw of this, is there's a lot of blame game in this show. She's blaming everyone else, but not looking back at her stuff. Which there are 2 episodes of. Episode 2 saying no, she lied about the coffee shop. And episode 7 where it's like, no, she lied about the note. Zach had the note the whole time. So I think this is where season 2 comes into seeing who Hannah really is. Because of course, this is Hannah's view of the world. We really don't see what people think of Hannah. I mean, we kind of do with her attitude of being an asshole to Clay a lot of the times, but then expecting Clay to jump in when he does come in, she just be an asshole or bitch right back. So it's hard to actually feel sorry for Hannah on some of this stuff, just because who she blames, how she blames it, and what she's blaming for. And some of the decisions she made are downright horrendously stupid, of going to a rapist's house, but you're blaming other people for actions you did. So that's my biggest flaw, like I said. But acting in this movie, phenomenal. How it's shot, phenomenal. Atmosphere, amazing. This episode went by quick. And actually, even though I had some issues, like episode 7 pissed me off. The Zack one, beyond belief. And I was like, do I want to finish this? Like, yeah, I gotta finish it. Even though it hooked me in. But some decisions in this show were absolutely horrendous. And of course, I had some Facebook talk, and people like, some females, girls out there were basically like, every episode made me cry. And I guess that's what's different between the show when you have a guy's point of view and a girl's point of view, is how you look at some of the like I said, some girls are like, yeah, she made some stupid decisions, but some are like, no, I cried at every episode because I felt sorry for Hannah on every episode. I don't think you can feel sorry for Hannah for every episode for decisions she makes, and just her attitude on some of it is just very piss poor. So, like I said, this review might piss some people off saying you're too insensitive to the actual show of Hannah did nothing wrong and all just you could play the blame game of every single one of these persons has something to do with their suicide, which I highly disagree with, just with suicide in general, but blaming these people, it's a very blame game show, and it kind of made me really upset that how much blame was put on these people. But an overall show, even though it pissed me off, it still kept me intrigued throughout the whole show. So, since it kept me intrigued throughout the whole show, I'm going to have to give it a solid 3 out of 5 blue futons, which equals a 60%. Now, I can give you what the critics and user scores gave it. Alright, so the critics and user scores are both a solid 80% throughout. So, both of them are 80%. And they say, 13 reasons why complements its best-selling source material with a gripping look at adolescence grief, who narratively maturity belies its YA Michele. I don't even know how to say that last word. I don't even know what it means. But of course, my 60% is lower. Just looking at some of the reviews, apparently a lot of them side with Hannah and reasons why it's a gripping show and adolescent grief of her flammability. But of course, that's where I disagree. That's why I have a 60%. 60%. I am giving it kind of more of a positive review just because it kept me intrigued all the way to episode 13, and it actually just made me think about it more, which is what you want in a show, to make you think about stuff more. Do you agree with the 80s, with the critic and audience, or my 60? When I looked at IMDb, it was a lot less. It was a lot of 3 out of 10s, 1 out of 10s, 2 out of 10s, because they kind of agree with me of the blame game. They call it more of an SJW show of people not taking fault for their own actions and doing more blame game for everyone else, which I could kind of agree with if you actually looked at each episode. So, was I too insensitive with 13 Reasons Why? I don't think so. Like I said, some of the reasons, yes, some of them, hell to that. Samuel Jackson, MFN, no. But hey, this is Chase Doggy with the new Blue Futon with my Mac back. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this Blue Futon Utopia, you Blue Futonians. And if you want, ring that bell, because who knows what YouTube's going to do in the next 3 months. But thank you for watching this long review. And let me know if you agree with the episodes. Was I completely wrong on some of them? And now, season 2. Already some controversy with the broom handle. Well, let's see what happens. So even the creator said, it's better to talk about it than shut up about it. And you're like, yes. Finally, someone trying to tell people, the more you silence people, the less the truth comes out. But anyway, Chase Hockey, thank you for watching. Have a great day. So I got nothing to talk about because I've already talked too long. But hey, thank you for watching.